Mega Evolution was introduced in Gen 6 of Pokemon. It's the first in a series of generational gimmicks, and it's a mechanic we're big fans of. So what's up fellas, my name is Matt, and today Elias and I are going to talk about why Mega Evolution is our favorite gimmick. Alright, let's get started.
What's up, I'm Elias, and when a Pokemon Mega evolves, they become stronger in a number of different ways. First off, they get 100 points added to their base stat total. Some of the stat buffs were pretty simple. Absol got plus 20 attack and plus 40 special attack and speed, but some Pokemon were min-maxed to Kingdom Come. Base Beedrill has a base stat total of 395, which is pretty low. So in order to send its attack and speed stats into the stratosphere, Mega Beedrill's special attack was lowered from 45 to 15. That means it deals less damage than Weedle on the special side. But that's all good, because Mega Beedrill's physical attacks hit like a truck, thanks in part to adaptability and Swords Dance.
Most Mega Evolutions also got new abilities, and many of them were upgrades over their base forms. Base Beedrill's abilities Swarm and Sniper are, well, they're fine, but adaptability is a much appreciated upgrade. Swarm boosts Bug-type moves when Beedrill drops below 1/3 of its max health, but adaptability changes your stat bonus from 50% to 100%, meaning it boosts Bug and Poison moves all the time.
Swampert became a threatening rain sweeper thanks to its Mega Evolution's new ability Swift Swim. That doubles your speed in the rain, which gives Mega Swampert the equivalent of base 189 speed. That's still slower than Regieleki. Good heavens. Good heavens, Matt. My goodness, Matt. Anyway, rain boosted water attacks coming off a base attack stat of 150 are also dangerous. In Gen 6 singles, Mega Swampert would use Rain Dance to activate Swift Swim itself, and in Gen 7, it would get the boost from Pelipper's new ability Drizzle.
How hard is it raining that the ability is called Swift Swim?
I don't know. They swim through the raindrops.
3 Mega Evolutions were given Tough Claws, namely Aerodactyl, Charizard X, and Metagross. That boosts the power of their contact moves by 30%, which made them even more powerful physical attackers. Gen 6 also introduced Pixelate, Aerolate, and Refrigerate, 3 abilities that make normal type moves way scarier. Not only do the moves change types, but they also get a 30% power boost, although it was nerfed to 20% in Gen 7. These abilities were primarily given to Megas.
Mega Salamence and Pinsir got Aerolate, which turns normal type moves into flying ones. Moves like Double Edge, Return, and Frustration got the power boost from the ability, on top of the 50% stab bonus. Salamence's flying type moves are normally pretty underwhelming. Aerial Ace and Air Cutter are weak, and Fly is usually terrible because it takes 4.7 times 10 to the 62nd power years for the move to finish. Mega Pinsir also can't learn any flying moves whatsoever, but thanks to Aerolate, they can choose from their normal move pool for stab attacks instead. Even if these Pokemon could learn Brave Bird, Double Edge would still be the better move thanks to the power boost Aerolate provides.
Mega Glalie uses normal type moves as well, because Refrigerate turns them into ice moves, and it provides the same boost as Aerolate. Double Edge and Return are good choices once again, but Glalie can also learn Explosion, the strongest move in the game. It's 250 base power, but thanks to Refrigerate and the stab bonus, Explosion's effective power in Gen 6 is 487.5, which is off the charts. Even ice-resistant Pokemon take big damage from this move.
Gardevoir and Altaria get the ability Pixelate when they Mega Evolve. It works the same way as the other abilities, but normal moves become Fairy type instead. Mega Gardevoir's special attack stat is off the charts, so its its Fairy stab of choice is Hyper Voice. Mega Altaria's attacking stats are perfectly balanced, but it typically goes for physical options like Return. That move has a higher base power than Hyper Voice, and Altaria can boost Return's power further with Dragon Dance.
Some Pokemon change types when they Mega Evolve. Mega Lopunny is normal fighting, as opposed to its base form, which is pure normal. That gives it stab on moves like High Jump Kick, which is even more dangerous than usual, thanks to the Mega's ability Scrappy. Mega Charizard X loses the flying type in favor of Dragon, which comes with quite a few upsides. Its Dragon type moves are better than its flying type ones, so it appreciates having stab on stuff like Dragon Claw and Outrage. Since it's no longer a flying type, Mega Charizard X also won't break 24 bones as soon as it steps on some stupid pebbles. Base Charizard loses half of its max health if there are Stealth Rocks on its side of the field, but Mega Charizard X only loses a quarter. How often does it rain enough that you can swim home?
I don't know, are you a salmon? They can swim up rivers.
Okay.
Who's to say they can't swim up a thunderstorm?
Half an inch of water?
I don't know. If a Pokemon has 2 types, it's usually a good thing if Steel is one of them. It pairs well with nearly every type in the game because it adds a ton of resistances. Scyther is a bug flying type, which is, to put it nicely, an abysmal what the hell does that say? Laughable? An abysmal, laughable, dreadful, hideous, disgusting combination. But its evolution Caesar is Bug Steel instead, which is awesome. But there are some types that Steel doesn't play well with.
Laughable's a word, I don't know what to tell ya.
Yeah, it just looks weird spelled out.
Base Aggron is a Steel Rock type Pokemon, which is really not what you want. That makes it 4 times weak to fighting and ground. That's especially bad because ground and fighting type coverage moves are pretty common, because they hit so many types super effectively. Rock is one of the worst types you can pair with Steel. Fortunately, Aggron is the only Pokemon to outright lose a type when it Mega Evolves, instead of replacing it with something else. Mega Aggron is a pure Steel type, which is a much better defensive typing. It also gets the ability Filter, which powers down incoming super effective moves even further.
Mega Evolution isn't as simple as, hey, let's make this Pokemon play the same, but better. Some Pokemon take on completely different roles when they Mega Evolve. One of the quintessential examples is Pidgeot. Most regional birds are pretty underwhelming competitively, and this guy is no exception. Its base form is a physical attacker with a pretty underwhelming stat spread. They're not the worst stats in the universe, but none of them stick out all that much.
Hello world, I just want you to know that I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on video games in the past few weeks.
That's not good.
Well, a lot of things were on sale, can you blame me?
You own Skyrim now, yeah?
I own Skyrim now.
Pretty good.
But in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Pidgeot got a pretty unusual Mega Evolution. Most of the time, if a Pokemon is a physical attacker, its Mega will also have a higher attack stat. Pidgeot's attack actually stayed the same, but it got a whopping 65 points added to its special attack. Becoming a special attacker was great for Pidgeot, especially thanks to its Mega's ability, No Guard. Oh, you're singing a whole different tune since Skyrim's one of the games I bought, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god, alright.
Most of Pidgeot's special moves are inaccurate, but thanks to No Guard, all its moves skip the accuracy check, so they'll never miss. That effectively makes Heat Wave a slightly stronger version of Flamethrower, and it makes Hurricane a lot more dangerous. Normally, it's 70% accurate, which compensates for a tie-based power and chance to confuse, but it's a guaranteed hit with No Guard.
Mega Pidgeot flipping from a physical attacker to a special one seems kinda random, but it does make sense in universe. Many of its Pokedex entries talk about its big chest muscles, which allow it to generate huge gusts of wind by flapping its wings. Nearly every wind-based move in the game is special, including its bread and butter moves, Hurricane and Heat Wave. Go figure, a bird can probably bench press more than me. Sigh. Hello, Elias. How much can you bench press in relation to Pidgeot?
How much can Pidgeot bench press?
Let's call up Junichi Masuda and find out. What's his number, 1-800-Masuda?
Probably. Diancie also plays completely differently when it Mega Evolves. The base form has 150 defense and special defense, and 100 attack and special attack. That makes it a solid defensive Pokemon, but it can also hit decently hard with moves like Moonblast. That move pairs especially well with defensive stat spreads, because Moonblast has a 30% chance to lower special attack. That makes base Diancie even harder to KO on the special side.
When Diancie Mega Evolves, its speed stat is boosted by 60 points. But on top of that, its offensive and defensive stats are swapped, and they all get a 10-point boost. So now its attack and special attack are 160, and its defense and special defense are 110. That makes Mega Diancie an offensive powerhouse. Since its attacking stats are balanced, it can run mixed attacking stats, with moves like Moonblast, Earth Power, and its signature move Diamond Storm.
That last one is an especially good move, because it has a 50% chance to raise Diancie's defense by 2 stages. So despite its defensive stats taking a big hit, Mega Diancie can still take a hit or two. Unfortunately, Diamond Storm is 95% accurate, because of course it is. Perfectly accurate physical rock moves are illegal apparently. Whoever created Smackdown is in jail now. Anyway, Mega Diancie can also do a bunch of other things. It can set up Stealth Rock, prevent the opposing team from setting up hazards with Magic Bounce, or heavily weaken an opponent with Endeavor.
That's one of the coolest things about Mega Evolution. Game Freak modified these Pokemon in so many different ways, and some of them were overhauled completely. On the other end of the spectrum, some Pokemon weren't changed as much. Some of them kept their original abilities because that's what they're best known for. I read the other end of the spectrum, and the first thing that came to mind was that one time you were like, yeah, color's a spectrum, that means most things are green.
Most things are green.
Yeah, the sky is green, your hair is green.
Everything's green. Mega Medicham keeps its signature ability Pure Power, so it still hits like a truck. Base Tyranitar and Abomasnow set up Weather with Sandstream and Snow Warning respectively, so their Megas are able to do the same. Their Mega Evolutions were mostly just stat upgrades because there was no need to mess with their abilities. Game Freak recognized that this isn't a one-size-fits-all situation, so each Pokemon was handled on a case-by-case basis. For the most part, they got whatever they needed the most.
Mega Evolutions also let some subtle optimizations, and I think they're really neat. Most of the time, the ability your Pokemon has before Mega Evolving doesn't make a difference, because you're going to spend a microscopic amount of time in your base base form. Like we mentioned, Mega Medicham has pure power, which doubles its attack stat. The base form can also have pure power as a pre-mega ability, but if you're holding the Medichamite, the optimal choice in singles is actually telepathy, despite that ability doing nothing in single battles. Fun fact, Elias dyed his hair green yesterday.
I did not do that.
Let me make up lies about you on the internet.
No. Pure Power does jack squat for base Medicham, because you're gonna Mega Evolve as soon as possible and gain that ability anyway. But if your opponent switches in a Ditto before you Mega Evolve, it'll copy the base form's ability. If your pre-Mega ability is Pure Power, you're in trouble, because Ditto's attack stat will be doubled and it'll outspeed you thanks to its held item choice scarf. But if you have Telepathy and you haven't had the chance to Mega Evolve yet, Ditto will copy a completely useless ability.
Mega Mawwile's ability is Huge Power, which is a clone of Pure Power. But the base form has 3 choices. Hypercutter, Intimidate, and Sheer Force. Pop quiz, what does Hypercutter do?
It cuts hyperly.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer. Right off the bat, Sheer Force is useless, since it boosts the power of attacks. Ordinarily, that's a great ability, but since Mawwile's gonna Mega Evolve on turn 1, Sheer Force doesn't do anything for you. Pre-Mega Mawwile isn't doing any attacking. Hypercutter probably won't make a difference, because it just blocks opposing Pokemon from lowering your attack.
I knew that, definitely.
Really, tell me more. You could get affected by Intimidate before Mega Evolving, but base Mawwile is best off using Intimidate itself, because that ability is most likely to impact the battle.
You can use it to lower your opponent's attack once before Mega Evolving. Alongside the massive attack boost from Pure Power, Mega Mawwile also gets a buff to its defense stat. By combining that with Intimidate and its resistance-laden Steel Fairy typing, Mega Mawwile can set up much more safely against physical attackers. Base Mawwile is one of the worst Pokemon in the game thanks to its terrible stats, but Mega Mawwile is the hardest hitting Pokemon in the entire game. In fact, the Mega was banned from Gen 6 OU, the standard tier of competitive singles.
In most cases, Klutz is Lopunny's ability of choice. That prevents it from using held items, which pairs well with the move Switcheroo. That way you can give your opponent an undesirable held item, but you won't be affected by whatever you get in return. But if you're holding your Mega Stone, Klutz does nothing for you, positive or negative. It doesn't prevent you from Mega Evolving, but you also can't use Switcheroo to swap items. So Lopunny is best off using Limber if you plan on Mega Evolving it. That'll ensure you don't get paralyzed as you switch in the first time.
Regular Abomasnow has 2 ability choices, Soundproof and Snow Warning, the latter of which is shared with its Mega Evolution. Snow Warning sets up Hail, which makes Blizzard perfectly accurate. No matter which pre-Mega ability you pick, the Hail will last the same amount of time, assuming you Mega Evolve on turn 1. So if you're using a Mega Abomasnow, there's no reason to set up the Hail the millisecond it lands on the field. Hail will be up by the time you're ready to attack anyway.
Since Snow Warning does nothing for base Abomasnow in this case, Soundproof is the optimal ability before Mega Evolving, because it makes you immune to sound-based moves. There's some dangerous ones out there too, like Hyper Voice, Bug Buzz, and Boom Burst. You may as well give yourself insurance against sound moves, even though said insurance won't last very long.
Mega Evolution is also the least gimmicky of the generational gimmicks, which is a good thing if you ask us. So far, every other gimmick has only been usable in one region. Z moves are only available in Alola, Dynamax can only be used in Galar. It's actually Galar?
Yeah.
That's dumb. And Terastallization is exclusive to Scarlet and Violet. Not only was Mega Evolution included in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but Game Freak also expanded on the mechanic further in these games. Even more Pokemon were given Mega Evolutions, including a few that weren't even available in the original Hoenn games. Mega Evolution also returned in Gen 7 in the Alola and Kanto games alike.
We haven't been able to use Mega so far in Gens 8 or 9, but Pokemon Legends ZA is bringing them back. It seems like Megas are here to stay, and if that does turn out to be the case, we're big fans of that. Back when Pokemon Sun and Moon were about to release, I remember seeing videos on YouTube with titles like Top 10 Mega Evolutions I Want to See. A lot of people wanted this mechanic to be expanded in Gen 7, but we didn't get any new Megas in Alola. That's a real shame, but it seems like Game Freak is ready to bring Megas back in full force. What are Burmese evolutions?
Wormadam, Wormadam 2, and Wormadam 3. And I think there's a Wormadam 4 as well. One for each season, right?
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer.
But it typically goes for physical options like technically.
You're fired.
But it typically goes for... Beep. Do you have any biscuits? Any scones?
Yeah, you want me to smush one up against the screen?
No.
Welp, that's all we got for today. Leave a comment about Vibrava. Subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying yourself. If you'd like to support us, you can become a channel member for as low as 99 cents a month. You'll get early access to videos, as well as exclusive content like deleted scenes and Let's Plays. And as always, shoutouts to our existing members. We'll see you all next time. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.